Hey there and welcome back to SSP Crack Exams. I'm Anuradha and I'm back with the topic antonyms and the CDS 2 2020 English paper solutions for this topic of antonyms, right? So we will straightforward start with the answer keys and explanations and solutions for the questions that you have got in your CDS 2 2020 antonyms section, right? But before that, let me tell you that now if you want to prepare for your upcoming CDS exam, you can do so by logging on to our website sspcrackexams.com or by just simply downloading our mobile app from the Google Play Store. You need to subscribe to our course to get all the full content lectures, quizzes, PDF study materials, practice exercises, sample practice Q&A, previous year's Q&A, mock tests and much more that will help you to score your highest and give your best in your upcoming CDS exam. So let's start with the directions or the instructions for the antonym section of your CDS 2 2020 English paper. So here you are. Each item in this section consists of sentences with an underlined word followed by 4 words or group of words. Select the option that is opposite in meaning to the underlined word and mark your response on the answer sheet accordingly. So if you are confused about antonyms and synonyms, you don't know what is what, here is your chance to know that, because in directions it is said that you need to find out the opposite in meaning to the word that you'll find underlined in the sentence. So first you need to read the sentence and you need to find out the word that is underlined. You need to understand and know the meaning and then find out its opposite. So let's start. The archaic thinking leads to unfounded beliefs, and you can see archaic is underlined. So you need to find out the opposite of archaic. What is the meaning of archaic? Archaic means old-fashioned or ancient. Old-fashioned or ancient, something that is old. So the archaic thinking leads to unfounded beliefs. The old or the old-fashioned thinking leads to unfounded beliefs. So you need to find out its opposite. You need to remember that. You need to find out its opposite. So what will be the opposite of old-fashioned? Something that is in fashion or something that is modern. So if you can see out of these 4 options, antiquated, outmoded and beyond the times, all are synonymous to old-fashioned or archaic. Only modern is something which is opposite to archaic. So therefore, your answer here will be option D, because modern is the antonym or opposite of archaic. Next question. Police had to resort to tear gas to diffuse tension among the crowd. Now, what is the meaning of diffuse? Diffuse means to cause something to become light and then to spread out. Okay, so diffuse is basically the opposite of concentrate. Scatter, disperse and strew are all synonymous to diffuse. So the opposite of diffuse is concentrate. Okay, something that is not spreading out. Concentrate is something that is getting accumulated somewhere. Okay, so therefore your answer is option A. Okay, next question. Unrest in some pockets made the city dwellers confine themselves at home. When something is unrest, something is in unrest, that means something is in chaos. So unrest is chaos. Unrest means chaos or turmoil, some kind of disturbance. So what will be the opposite of unrest or chaos or disturbance? Something that is peaceful, or in other words, something that is calm. So you can see option D, calm. Turbulence, unease and apprehension are all something to do with being anxious or being in chaotic situation or being in disturbance. So calm is something that is opposite to unrest. Okay, so your answer is therefore option D. Calm is the antonym of unrest. Next question. Peace and tranquility are instruments which would boost the development of society. So tranquility and peace are more or less the same thing. Tranquility means something that is calm and serene. Okay? Calm, serene, without disturbance. So tranquility means calm. So what will be the opposite of tranquility? Something that is not calm, something that is in uproar. Uproar means something that is in turmoil or disturbance. Calm is the synonym of tranquility. So you need to cross this out. Serenity means tranquility. Cross this out. And sound has nothing to do with tranquility. So you can also cross this out. So your option is A, which is your answer. Okay. Next question. Barring a decision of such disputes, other matters relating to the election of president or vice president may be regulated by law made by parliament. When you're using this term barring something, barring someone, that means you are removing that person or thing. In other words, except. Barring is basically synonymous to except. Barring something, if something else happens, that means except that particular thing, the thing happened. Okay, something else happened. So barring is synonymous to except. So what will be the opposite of barring when you are including something? So including will be your opposite, the antonym of barring. Accepting, without, and excluding are all synonymous to barring. So therefore you need to cross these options out. The only option C, including, is the opposite of barring. So your answer here is option C. Okay, next one. His speech was full of emotions and it was an extempore. Now, this is a very tricky question in the sense that there are two options which are more or less the same. So, you may or may not commit a mistake here. So, what is the meaning of extempore? You must have heard in your schools, right, that there is an extempore, a competition of extempore. Extempore is something where is an event where a topic will be given to you and you need to prepare something on the spot. So extempore means something that is spoken or done without preparation, something that is impromptu, on the spot. Okay. So something which is not on the spot, something which is not done or spoken without preparation is an antonym of extempore, right? So you have options: prepared, ready-made, unrehearsed, and ad-lib. Now ad-lib means impromptu or extempore. So this is synonymous to extempore. So you can cross this out. Something that is unrehearsed, that means you are without preparation. So this is again synonymous to extempore and you can cross this out. Now the tricky options are option A and option B, prepared and ready-made. But if you look into option B, ready-made, you will see that what is the meaning of ready-made. If something is ready-made, that means you're more or less prepared, right? And prepared is something which is completely prepared. So I would suggest you to go with option A, prepared, and not with option B. Ready-made is not used usually as an antonym of extempore. It is always prepared. Okay, so your answer is therefore option A, prepared, as opposed to something that is not prepared, something without preparation, that is extempore. Next question. The teacher asked her students to understand the ensuing problems and address them suitably. Ensuing means something that follows something. So ensuing basically means as a result or consequent. So if something happens and the results follows that particular thing, then these results are ensuing results. Okay. So ensuing means subsequent, consequent. So these two A and B options are synonymous to ensuing. So you need to cross them out. You need to find out the opposite of ensuing, something which is not following one after the other, something that is not a consequence of another. Okay, that will be the opposite of ensuing. Look at this option D, ensuite. Now ensuite is not related at all with ensuing because ensuite means a room with an attached bath. Okay, this has nothing to do with ensuing. So we are left with option C, retrospective. And retrospective means looking back on something especially which is there in your past. That means dealing with past events or situations. So instead of looking forward, which is more or less synonymous to ensuing, retrospective is the opposite of ensuing. That means you are looking backward, looking to your past, not to the future. Okay. Future is the result, but looking at the past is retrospective. So therefore, answer is option C here. Next question. All the allegations against the actor were expunged by the committee of inquiry. Expunged means removed or rejected, you can say. So rejected, got rid of are synonymous to expunged, and so you can cross them out. So what will be the opposite of getting rejected or removed? Obviously accepted, not part of. Part of means obviously being a part of, component of. So part of is not applicable here. Accepted is the opposite of expunged. So therefore your answer is option C. Next one. his relatives dissuaded him from giving up the job. Dissuaded means discouraged. Okay, and I know that you already know that the opposite of dissuade is persuade, and it is already there in option A. So this is your antonym, this is your opposite, and this is your answer. Okay, because dissuade means discourage. So the option B will not be your answer. Advised against is again synonymous to dissuade, and deter synonymous to dissuade. So option A is your answer. Okay, persuade is the opposite of dissuade. Next one. He is one of the confidants of the leader and can influence the decision of the government. When you are a confidant of someone, you are close to that person. You are a very close person to him or her. Okay, so intimate, close friend, they are all synonymous to confidence. So you can just cross them out. Colleague is can be a confident, cannot be a confident. It has nothing to do with being a confident or not. So you can cross them out as well. And you're left with option A, which is opponent. Okay. So opponent is your answer, and opponent is the antonym of confidence. Opponents obviously are not intimate or close to you. Right? So your option A is your answer here. So I hope that you have got all the answer keys and solutions for the antonym section of your CDS2 2020 English paper. For more topic-wise solutions and answer keys for your CDS2 2020 English paper, you need to wait for my upcoming sessions where I will be coming back with more topics, their questions and answers I'll discuss. You also can watch the English paper analysis of CDS2 2020, and there are also other tutors who are coming up with their paper analysis and along with them the answer keys and solutions for their respective subject wise questions. So stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams, and don't forget to download our mobile app and subscribe to the CDS course to crack your upcoming CDS exam. Till then, be confident and stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams. Jai Hind. Hey there and welcome back to SSB Crack Exams. I'm Anuradha and I am back with the answer keys and solutions for the next topic in CDS2 2020 English paper, and that is comprehension. So let's start solving the questions and let's see if you have marked your answers correctly for the comprehension section in your CDS2 2020 English paper. But before that, let me tell you that now if you are planning to appear for the upcoming CDS exam, you can prepare for it from a very early period of time with a very fair amount of time in your hand, and we can help you with the preparation. So you just need to download our mobile app from the Google Play Store or log into our website ssbcrackexams.com. Please subscribe to our serious course because in this course we have covered all the subjects with full content lectures, PDF study materials, quizzes, practice exercises, sample practice Q&A, previous year's Q&A, mock tests and much more. That would be really helpful for your preparation for your upcoming CDS exam. Till then, you need to download our mobile app and subscribe to our CDS course. So let's start with the comprehension questions from the CDS to 2020 English paper. But before that, we will first see the directions. In this section, you have two short passages. After each passage, you will find some items based on the passage. Read the passages and answer the items based on them. You are required to select your answers based on the content of the passage and opinion of the author only. So let's start with the first passage that we have here. Quickly, we will just read and we will go into the questions, right? Post-colonial cultural analysis has been concerned with the elaboration of theoretical structures that contest the previous dominant Western ways of seeing things. A simple analogy would be with feminism, which has involved a comparable kind of project. There was a time when any book you might read, any speech you might hear, any film that you saw was always told from the point of view of male. The woman was there, but she was always an object, never a subject. From what you would read or the films you would see, the woman was always the one who was looked at. She was never the observing eye. For centuries, it was assumed that women were less intelligent than men and that they did not merit the same degree of education. They were not allowed a vote in the political system. By the same token, any kind of knowledge developed by women was regarded as non serious, trivial, gossip, or alternatively as knowledge that had been discredited by science, such as superstition or traditional practices of childbirth or healing. All these attitudes were part of a larger system in which women were dominated, exploited, and physically abused by men. Slowly but increasingly from the end of 18th century, feminists began to contest this situation. The more they contested it, the more it became increasingly obvious that these attitudes extended into the whole of the culture. Social relations, politics, law, medicine, the arts, popular and academic knowledge. Now, let's read the questions one by one and let's try to find out the answers. Post-colonialism is a contestation of the then existing dominant Western practices, a contestation of Western practices in colonial states, a contestation of the superstitious practices, and approval of indigenous practices. It would be a contestation of the then existing dominant Western practices. If you look into the passage, the first line that you will see that post-colonial cultural analysis has been concerned with the elaboration of theoretical structures that contest the previous dominant Western ways of seeing things. It is not mentioned if there is something to do with colonial states or not, but obviously with dominant Western ways of seeing things. Therefore, a contestation of the then existing dominant Western practices will be your answer. Okay, so therefore, your answer is option A. Let's go to the next question. What does "she was always an object, never a subject" mean? Women were given respect and worshipped? No. Women were not given any right equal to men? That is correct. Women were treated at par with men? That means they are treated equally with men? No. Women liked to be treated inferior to men? No. So it should be option B. So this is your answer. Right? Now we will go on to the next question. Why was she never the observing eye? She was beautiful, so she was observed by men? No. She liked to be observed by men? No. Women were assumed to be less intelligent than men? Yes. Women were assumed to be more intelligent than men? No. So therefore, option C is your answer. Right? Next one. The contestation to dominance of the male resulted in participation of women in social relations, politics, law, medicine, the arts, popular and academic knowledge, participation of men in social relations, politics, law, medicine, the arts, popular and academic knowledge, participation of women in social movements, contestation with males in life leading to divorce. Now, let's find out from the last line of the passage that we read. So here it is. Slowly but increasingly from the end of 18th century, feminists began to contest this situation where women were dominated, exploited and physically abused by men. The more they contested it, the more it became increasingly obvious that these attitudes extended into the whole of the culture, social relations, politics, law, medicine, arts, popular and academic knowledge. So as they started contesting these attitudes of men, okay, dominating over women, they also found out that not only this but of the whole of culture where the men are dominating women. So this was possible because women started participating in all these domains also. So therefore the option A will be your answer. The contestation to dominance of the male resulted in participation of women in social relations, politics, law, medicine, arts, popular and academic knowledge. So therefore your answer is option A here. Come to the next question. Which word in the passage is opposite of contrast? The opposite of contrast. Contestations? No, contestation means obviously disagreement or competitions. Trivial is something which is unimportant. Discredited is something that has lost its respect or credibility. It should be analogy, which is the opposite of contrast, because analogy means partial similarity. Therefore, your answer is option D. Right, so we have completed the questions for the first passage of the comprehension. Now we will go on to the next passage here. So this is passage 2. So let's read the passage and then we will read the questions and find out answers. How wonderful is the living world! The wide range of the living types is amazing. The extraordinary habitats in which we find living organisms, be it cold mountains, deciduous forests, oceans, freshwater lakes, deserts, or hot springs, leave us speechless. The beauty of a galloping horse or a migrating bird, the valley of flowers, or the attacking shark evokes awe and a deep sense of wonder. The ecological conflict and cooperation among members of a population and among populations of a community, or even a molecular traffic inside a cell, make us deeply reflect on what indeed is life. This question has two implicit questions within it. The first is a technical one and seeks answer to what living is as opposed to the non living, and the second is the philosophical one and seeks answer to what the purpose of life is. What is living? When we try to define living, we conventionally look for distinctive characteristics exhibited by living organisms: growth, reproduction, ability to sense environment, and mount a suitable response come to our mind immediately as unique features of living organisms. One can add a few more features like metabolism, ability to self replicate, self organize, interact, and emergence to this list. Now we will go on to the questions and read the options to find out answers. Here you are, the first question for the passage. Why are the living types amazing? The extraordinary diversity of habitats makes it amazing. The living organisms are acting as per their interests. The human thinking makes the living types amazing. Or the evolution of life makes it amazing. It should be option A. Because if you read here, the first three lines, the extraordinary habitats in which we find living organisms, be it cold mountains, deciduous forests, oceans, freshwater lakes, deserts, or hot springs, leave us speechless. So, this is the wonder about the living world, right? So, therefore, your answer is option A here. Coming on to the next question. Why does the author say ecological conflict and cooperation? Because living organisms are structured this way, because ecological mechanism works with conflict and cooperation, because humans want to fight and live together, because living organisms sometimes fight and sometimes live together. Where well, we will go with option B, because ecological mechanism works with conflict and cooperation among the members of population as well as among the populations of the communities. So therefore your answer is option B here. Next question is, which of the following statements is true of the passage? Meaning of life could be reflected as to what living is as opposed to the non-living and what the purpose of life is. Meaning of life could be reflected as to how living organisms live and non-living organisms exist. Meaning of life could be reflected as to where the life begins and where it ends. Meaning of life could be reflected on how various living organisms differ. It should be option A. And for this we have the supporting statement here. See, what indeed is life? This question has two implicit questions within it. First is a technical one and seeks answer to what living is as opposed to the non-living. And the second is the philosophical one and seeks answer to what the purpose of life is. Therefore, we will go with option A, right, as our answer. The next question is, distinctive characteristics exhibited by organisms indicate that they are living organisms, they are non-living organisms, they can be either living organisms or non-living organisms, they know the purpose of life. We have to cross out A, B and D and have to go with C, because here again in the passage you will see what is living. When we try to define living, we conventionally look for distinctive characteristics exhibited by living organisms. So therefore, we look for the characteristics of living organisms so that to assert whether that organism is a living organism or a non-living organism. So therefore, answer will be option C here. Right? Coming to the next question. Which word in the passage means unique? Something that is unique is something that is distinctive, not common. Common does not make unique. Characteristic simply means features. And general is something that is general. So unique is something that is special. In other words, distinctive, something which distincts or differs one thing from another. So therefore, your answer is option C. So I hope that you have got the answer keys, explanations and solutions for the comprehension questions from the CDS2 2020 English paper. So I will be coming back with some more topics pertaining to the CDS2 2020 English paper and their answer keys and explanations and solutions. So stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams for all the topic wise answer keys and solutions for your CDS2 2020 English paper. Please also don't forget to go through the English paper analysis of the same exam. So our tutors are coming up with their respective paper analysis and also the Q&A solutions and answer keys for their respective papers. Till then, you can stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams and download our mobile app and subscribe to our CDS course right now. Jai Hind. Hello and welcome back to SSB Crack Exams. I am Anuradha and I am back with the topic sentence completion, that is fill in the blanks questions from your CDS2 2020 English paper. In this lecture, I will be giving you the answer keys and solutions of these fill in the blanks questions from CDS2 2020 English paper, and not only that, I will be also giving you a solution if you want to now prepare for your upcoming CDS exam. You can do so easily at the comfort of your home by just logging on to our website ssbcrackexams.com, or you can download our mobile app from the Google Play Store and subscribe to our CDS course, where we have covered all the subjects with full content lectures, PDF study materials, quizzes, practice exercises, sample practice Q&A, previous year's Q&A, mock tests and much more. This will give you an ace over others to score your very best and to perform with flying colors in your CDS exam. So hurry up and download our mobile app right now. So let's start with the fill in the blanks questions from your CDS2 2020 English paper, but first we will start with the directions. Each of the following sentences in this section has a blank space and 4 words or group of words are given after the sentence. Select the most appropriate word or group of words for the blank space and indicate your response on the answer sheet accordingly. Okay, so here simply a sentence is given with a blank and you need to fill in the blank with the options that are given after that. So let's start with the first question. If I dash a good match, I would have got married. The options are had found, have found, have. Now this is a sentence related to the conditionals. There are 3 conditionals. The first conditional is if you have if I will or would. So this structure, and if I is followed by a present form of verb, a present tense, then I will be followed by will. This is for the first conditional. The second conditional is if I is followed by the past tense, then I after this first sentence will be followed with would. Okay. The third conditional is if I is followed by had and then the past participle. Then in the next sentence, I will be followed by would have. So if I followed by present tense in the first sentence, will have in the second sentence I will. In the second conditional, if I is followed by the past tense, then in the first sentence, the second sentence will be I would. The third conditional is if I had past participle is followed by in the second sentence it would be I would have. Okay. So this sentence matches with our third conditional. If I dash a good match, I would have got married. You see in the second sentence, I would have is there, right? I would have. So therefore, in the first sentence, it should be if I had followed by the past participle. So here the only option is option A, where had found is there. So it should be if I had found a good match, I would have got married. So therefore, your answer is option A. Okay. The next question. The lady has been declared as one of the top 10 dash of the community. top 10 more powerful members of the community, most powerful members of the community, most powerful member of the community, more powerful member of the community. So basically, you see, this lady has been one of the top 10, right? So obviously, whenever one of is followed by a plural noun, it will never be followed by the singular noun. So members is right. So you need to cross out C and D because it is only member. But again, will it be top 10 more powerful members or most powerful members? It should be most powerful members because this is something to do with the whole community. Nothing is compared between any two. Therefore, it should be one of the top 10 most powerful members. So therefore, your answer is option B. Next question. When I visited the villages nearby the city, I dashed many water bodies intact. I came across many water bodies intact. I come across many water bodies intact. I came many water bodies intact, or I came in many water bodies intact. When you come across something, that means you become face to face or you encounter. So came across or come across, it will be right. But here you see, when I visited the villages, it is in past tense. Therefore, come across, which is in present tense, will not be applicable in this sentence. It should also be in the past tense, that is came across. So therefore, your answer is option A. The next question. He has lost all his investments and he is dash. He is broke, he is broken, he is discredited, or he is defunct. Okay, it should be he is broke. Broke means being bankrupt or being penniless. So because he has lost all his investments, it is financial investments. Therefore, he is broke. That means he has become bankrupt or penniless. Discredited means having lost respect or credibility. So this is not applicable. And defunct means becoming non-functioning or useless. Again, this is not applicable. And broken is when something is broke down. Okay, broke on the other sense is a noun itself, which means being bankrupt or penniless. So therefore, your answer is option A. Next question. He dashed whether he could get any certificate for the course. He said whether he could get any certificate for the course. He told whether he could get any certificate for the course. He thought of whether he could get any certificate for the course, or he asked whether he could get any certificate for the course. It should be asked. Okay. He asked whether he could get any certificate for the course. Okay. So therefore, your answer is option D. Because this is the statement form of a question. So if I say, can I get any certificate for the course? And if I transform this particular interrogative sentence into an assertive sentence, it will be, I asked whether I could get any certificate for the course. So whether is used when it is the statement form, the assertive sentence form of a yes no question. So therefore, asked will be the most appropriate word to use here. The next question is, I dash farewell to all my course mates last year. So basically, many of you will straightforward write, I bid farewell, because you bid farewell. Okay, you bid goodbye to someone. Bidding farewell or bidding goodbye is to say goodbye or to say, farewell. But look at the sentence here. I dash farewell to all my course mates last year. So something that have happened last year is obviously something that have happened in the past. So therefore, bid is not to be used here. Bid is basically the present tense. The past tense of bid should be used here, which is bade. So bid, bade, bidden. You have to always remember this. Bid is the present tense, bade is the past tense, and bidden is the past participle. Okay, so it should be, I bade farewell to all my course mates last year. So therefore, your answer is option B. Okay, next question. Very few of the texts from very early Vedic period are dash now. Now this is again a very tricky question, because look at the options here: extant, exit, exempt, and redundant. Now, what is the meaning of extant? Extant means surviving, something that is existing. Exit means obviously the entry and exit of a place, which is not to be used for Vedic texts here, right? So you can cross this out. Exempt means something that is barred from, okay, something that is not applicable. Again, you cannot use exempt here, okay? And redundant means something that is useless. Redundant is something that is useless. Now, which one do you think is applicable in this blank? Very few of the texts from very early Vedic period are surviving now, or very few of the texts from very early Vedic period are useless now? Obviously, the first one, surviving, is a little bit good to hear. Okay, they are not useless, it cannot be useless now, right? So obviously the texts are from Vedic period, they must be very costly, priceless, so it cannot be useless. So therefore you need to cross out option D and go with option A, which is extant, that means surviving. Okay, so therefore your answer is option A. Next question. A speech is a dash address delivered to an audience that seeks to convince, persuade, inspire, or inform. So, speech is a formal address. A speech is an informal address. Now, look at here. Is a, it's written, not an. So, it cannot be informal, you see? Because informal is with I, a while, and it has to be preceded by an. So straightforward in the sentence only, it is already there that it cannot be informal. Okay, so humorous is a humorous address. No, it's not funny, right? It's a political address. Not always a speech is political. So you are left with option A, which is formal. So speech is a formal address. Therefore, your answer is option A. Easy, right? The next question. All that dash is not gold. Obviously, you know this proverb. This is a very, very common saying. All that glitters is not gold. Okay, not glitter. All that glitters is not gold. So, your answer is option B. The next question is, having been in politics for about 40 years, the party now treats him like dash. A have been, a had been, a has been, would have been. Now, many of you will think that this is something to do with the tenses. Right? Have been, had been, has been, would have been. They're all forms of tenses. Well, I will tell you, this is nothing to do with the tenses. Okay? This is a little bit difficult question because you may not have come across these kinds of statements anywhere, any magazine or newspaper as such. But the most appropriate word to be used here is a has been, and I'll tell you why. Has been is basically a noun. Okay, it's basically a noun, and a has been is used for a person who is considered to be outmoded or no longer of any significance, a useless person. And it is very common to have in politics persons who are there for a very longer amount of time, for a longer period of time, to become a political has been. A political has been. So this is basically a very term, a very important and a very formal term to say someone is a political has been, simply because he has been in politics for a very long period of time, so long that the party now, or the political party, or the people in the political party has now considered this person to be a useless person, a person who is outmoded and no longer of any significance for the political party. So has been is basically a noun, and it is the most appropriate word to be filled up in this blank provided. A political has been is a very common term to be used in politics. Therefore, your answer here is option C. So I hope that you have got all the answers and the solutions for them as well for the fill in the blank section of your CDS2 2020 paper. I would request you to check the CDS2 2020 English paper analysis also, where I have given you the paper analysis for this CDS2 2020 exam. You need to also stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams to check out the other subjects, and the tutors are coming up with the analysis of the papers. So check out the analysis of those papers as well of CDS2 2020 exam, and also stay tuned for the answer keys and explanations for all papers for the CDS2 2020 exam that we are all coming up with. So stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams, and don't forget to download our mobile app from the Google Play Store right now. Jai Hind. Hello and welcome to SSB Crack Exams. I'm Anuradha, and I am back with the CDS2 2020 paper solutions for the topic of idioms and phrases. So I will be solving some questions, and also I will be giving you the answer keys and explanations for the CDS to 2020 questions from the topic of idioms and phrases, right? So let's start, but before that let me tell you that now you can download our mobile app from the Google Play Store or log into our website sspcrackexams.com and subscribe to a CDS course if you want to score your highest and give your best performance in your upcoming CDS exam. While subscribing to our course, you will find that we have covered all the subjects with full content lectures, quizzes, mock tests, practice exercises, PDF study materials, sample practice Q&A, previous year's Q&A, and much more. So I hope that will be much more advantageous for you and will help you in your preparation for your solid performance which you will be giving in your upcoming CDS exam. So hurry up and download our mobile app from the Google Play Store right now. So let's start with first of all the directions for the idioms and phrases section. So here you are. Given below are some idioms or phrases followed by 4 alternative meanings to each. Choose the response A, B, C or D, which is the most appropriate expression, and mark your response in the answer sheet accordingly. So you just need to read the idioms or phrases provided in the question and find out its meaning from the options, and then choose your correct option as the answer. So let's start with the question then. Get the jitters. Now when you get the jitters, you mean that you are feeling frightful or you are feeling a sense of uneasiness. In other words, you are feeling anxious. So get the jitters means feeling frightful, feeling afraid, feeling uneasy, feeling anxious, right? So therefore your answer is option A. Next question, French leave. Now, French leave means absent from work without asking permission. When you are on leave, but you have not asked any kind of permission for leave from your office or from your workplace or from your educational institution. Now, why it is called French leave? There are two possible allusions to French for being, absent in your work without taking permission. The first claim is that the English soldiers used to believe that the French soldiers were such cowards that they leave battlefield without informing their seniors or their superiors. The other claim is that French people usually leave their gatherings or any kind of social functions without saying goodbye to their hosts. But whatever it is, French leave means being absent from work without asking for permission. So therefore your answer is option D. Next question, take a stand. Take a stand means to publicly express your opinion or the side that you are on. So it should be option A. Now, take a stand is an idiom which alludes to the military sense of standing. In other words, holding one's ground against an enemy. So take a stand means to publicly express an opinion about something. So your answer is option A. The next question is cut and run. Cut and run means when you are faced with a very dangerous or a difficult situation, you suddenly flee or you escape from that situation before you face the situation or in order to avoid facing the situation. So cut and run means to avoid a difficult situation by leaving suddenly. Okay, so it means making a speedy departure from a difficult situation rather than dealing with it. The phrase cut and run originated in the 1700s to describe an act allowing a ship to make sail quickly in an urgent situation, either by cutting free an anchor or by cutting rope yarns to unfurl sails from the yards on a square rig ship. So basically cut and run is used for ships like when they face any kind of dangerous situation, so they can cut in a corner, turn and then sail off, okay, and then run. So your answer therefore for this idiom cut and run is option A. The next question, cut the cord. Here the cord stands for the umbilical cord. Umbilical cord is a cord which is connecting the baby, the fetus, with its mother in the womb. So when you cut the cord, that means you are becoming independent of someone, and thus you are living a life of independence or freedom of your own. So cut the cord means to stop needing someone else to look after you and start acting independently. So just when a fetus is inside its mother's womb, it has to depend on its mother for all the nutrition, for the growth, and when the baby is delivered, the umbilical cord is cut so that it can live its life independently. Similarly, to cut the cord means to stop depending on someone and start living an independent life of its own. So, therefore, your answer is option B. The next question is cupboard love. Now, cupboard love means to love someone to get something from the person. So, to feign or to pretend that you love someone to get something from someone. Okay, so this particular phrase, cupboard love, derives from the way a cat shows superficial love for a person who feeds it, or for the cupboard that holds its food, where its food is kept. So, cupboard love means loving someone to get something from the person. Therefore, your answer is option A. Next question, around the corner. When something is around the corner, that means that particular thing is coming fast to you. So we say your exam is around the corner, or his marriage or his wedding is around the corner. That means there are only a few days left. Okay, so around the corner means an event or a thing which is going to happen soon. Okay, so therefore your answer is option B here. The next question is with heavy heart. So when you are saying something or when you are with heavy heart, that means you are not happy at all. You are very sad, you are with pain. So you can see in formal letters, or when we say that, I console you with a heavy heart, that means I am full with pain and regret. So with heavy heart means with pain and regret. So your answer is option D here. Next question, cost a bomb. Now I already discussed this particular idiom in my lecture on idioms and phrases. If you can just go through my lectures in idioms and phrases topic in the CDS course, where I have already given you the meaning for this idiom, cost a bomb. When something costs a bomb, that means that particular thing is very expensive. So cost a bomb means to be very expensive. So therefore your answer is option C here. The next is roll your sleeves up. Again, in my idioms and phrases lecture, I have already talked about this particular idiom. When you roll your sleeves up, you are getting prepared to do any kind of hard work. So basically, you see in normal sense in everyday life that whenever you want to do something that is a dirty work, in the sense that there involves a lot of mud, or that you'll get all dirty, or that you'll get wet, you basically roll your sleeves up of your shirt, okay, so that it doesn't get dirty or wet, right? The sleeves don't get dirty or wet. So that therefore from there this idiom has come from. So rolling your sleeves up means to get prepared to do something which is a hard work. So prepared for hard work therefore is your answer, and therefore it's the meaning of rolling your sleeves up. So your answer is option B. So I hope that you have got the answer keys and explanations for all your questions in the idioms and phrases section of your CDS to 2020 English paper. Wait for my upcoming lectures, where I will be coming back with some more answer keys and explanations for the rest of the topics in your CDS to 2020 English paper. Don't forget to also go through the CDS to 2020 English paper analysis. Also wait for the other tutors who will be coming back with their own paper analysis and also the answer keys and solutions. So stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams and stay motivated. Jai Hind. Hello everybody, welcome to SSB Crack Exams. I'm Anuradha and I am here to give you solutions and answer keys for your CDS 2 2020 English paper. So I'll be starting with the different topics, and topic wise I'm going to give you the solutions and answer keys, right? So if you want to now prepare for your upcoming CTS exam, you can do so easily by logging onto our website sspcrackexams.com, or by just downloading our mobile app from the Google Play Store. You need to subscribe to our course, where we have covered all the subjects with the full content lectures, PDF study materials, quizzes, practice exercises, sample practice Q&A, previous year's Q&A, mock tests and much more. So if you want to now score and perform and give your best in your next CDS exam, you can do so by subscribing to our course. So hurry up and download our mobile app from the Google Play Store right now. So let's start with the first topic, that is spotting of errors. So we will start with the answer keys and solutions from the topic spotting of errors, right? So let's begin, but first we will see the directions. So here you are, the directions. Each item in this section has a sentence with 3 underlined parts labeled as A, B and C. Read each sentence to find out whether there is any error in any underlined part and indicate your response on the answer sheet against the corresponding letter, that is A or B or C. If you find no error, your response should be indicated as D. So first we need to read the sentence which has been divided into 3 underlined parts, and those 3 underlined parts have been labeled as A, B and C. So first we need to find out whether there is any grammatical error in any of the parts in the sentence. So if for example the part B of a sentence is having an error, we have to write our answer as option B. If on the other hand we find that there is no grammatical error in the sentence, then our answer would be option D, which is no error. So let's start with the first question under spotting of errors for your CDS to 2020 English paper. He has been the most revered member of the committee of inquiry. Okay, so if you have already gone through my lecture, then you already know that where is the error. So in the spotting of error lectures, I have told you so many times about the errors that may occur with one of the. So wherever you'll get this term one of the, you have to then add it with the plural number of nouns. Okay, with a plural noun. But here of is missing in part B, right? He has been, actually it would be one of the most revered members. It should be the plural noun members of the committee of inquiry. So as you can see that part B of the sentence is having the error. Therefore, your answer will be option B. Okay, it should be he has been one of the most revered members of the committee of inquiry. Going on to the next question, Rahul asked me whether I was interested to joining the group for the trip. Now, the error is with this term, to joining. Either you are interested in joining or you are interested to join. So if you have gone through my gerund lecture, you will know that I have talked about the infinitives, right? So joining is a gerund because it's ending with the ing, right? So with joining, it will be preceded by the preposition in. But if you want to really keep it as the main word join, you have to precede it with the infinitive to. So it should be interested in joining the group for the trip or interested to join the group for the trip. Whatever it is, the error is with part C of this sentence. Therefore, your answer is option C. Okay. Next question. Where there is a will, then there is a way is an old epithet. Actually, it's wrong epithet which has been used here. It is actually where there is a will, there is a way, then is not used in the original epithet. Therefore, the error is with part B of the sentence. And so, your answer is option B. The next question is, Indian feminism grew out of the women's movements of the late 19th century, reached full maturity in the early 20th century. It is wrong. The structure of the sentence is wrong. It should be Indian feminism which or that grew out of the women's movements of the late 19th century, reached full maturity in the early 20th century. Basically, this is a clause where you need to use the relative pronoun which or that before the verb grew out, right? So, the error is with part A of the sentence and your answer is option A here. Next question. The greatest merit of democracy is that everyone feels free and can pursue his or her interests. So, the problem is with the use of this can pursues. Now, whenever you know what can is, right? So, if you have already gone through my lecture on verbs, you know that can is basically a modal verb. It's a modal verb, right? So, a modal verb will always be followed with, and can is a present modal verb. It's not could, it's can. So, it should always be followed by the main verb. And the main verb is here pursue, not pursues. Pursues is a third person singular number present form of the word pursue. Okay, pursues is incorrect. It should be can pursue. So the greatest merit of democracy is that everyone feels free and can pursue his or her interest. So therefore your answer is option C here, because C has the error. Next one, all stakeholders of education have the right to ask for accountability in every aspects of its implementation. Again, when I was doing in my lectures the sample practice Q&A, the previous year's Q&A also, I told you that whenever you get in your sentence the word every, it is always followed by a singular noun or a singular pronoun, whatever it is. Not a pronoun, obviously, a singular noun. So aspects is plural here. Therefore, it is incorrect. Okay, aspects is incorrect. It should be only aspect. Every aspect. Okay, so option C is your answer, because it should be aspect instead of aspects in part C. The next question. Learning many languages promotes linguistic, cultural, and social harmonies among people speaking different languages. Right? So, here, if you see in this sentence, you will find that there is basically no error. Technically, there is no error in this sentence. So, therefore, your answer is option D. Okay? The next question. One should not act according to one's whims and fancies on public places. We do not use the preposition on, we use in for public places. So for public places, we say in. We say do not smoke in public places. We don't say do not smoke on public places, right? So here there is a wrong usage of the preposition. It should be in. So therefore your answer is option C. Okay. The next question. Economists believe that India had taken a new turn in 1990 with the liberalization to her economy. It is not liberalization to her economy, it is liberalization of her economy. Right? Liberalization of her economy. So, again, there is a wrong usage of the preposition here, and your answer is option C, because part C is having this error. The next question is, irrigation works have a special importance in an agricultural countries like India, where rainfall is unequally distributed throughout the seasons. So I hope that you have got what is the error by now. It is in part B. Why? Because you cannot say in an agricultural countries. Agricultural countries is plural, right? And an is an article which is used with singular nouns. It's not used with plural nouns, right? So either it should be in an agricultural country like India, where you have to make countries country, you need to change the plural countries into singular country, or you need to just remove the article and say in agricultural countries like India. Whatever it is, the error is in part B of this sentence. Therefore your answer is option B. Right? So I hope that you got the answers for your CDS 2 2020 English paper section called Spotting of Errors. So I will be coming back with some solutions and answer keys for the rest of the topics for your CDS 2 2020 English paper. There are also other tutors who will be coming back with their respective subjects and their papers with questions, answers, solutions, and explanations. There are also analyses which have been done by the tutors for their respective subjects. So please stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams and start watching all the analysis, explanations, answer keys, and solutions for your CDS 2 2020 exam. Till then, stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams. Jai Hind. Hey there and welcome to SSP Crack Exams. I'm Anuradha and I am back with the topic of synonyms for your CDS 2 2020 English paper Q&A solutions and answer keys. So I'll be starting off with the questions for your synonym section, and I will be also discussing with you the answer keys and the explanations for them. For those of you who want to crack your upcoming CDS exam, you can download our mobile app from the Google Play Store, or you can also log on to our website sspcrackexams.com and subscribe to our CTS course, where we have covered all the subjects with full content lectures, quizzes, PDF study materials, sample practice Q&A, previous year's Q&A, practice exercises, mock tests, and much more. So hurry up and download our mobile app right now. So let's first start with the directions for the synonym section, and then we will proceed on to solving the questions here. So here is your directions. Each item in this section consists of a sentence with an underlined word or words followed by 4 words or group of words. Select the option that is nearest in meaning to the underlined word and mark your response on the answer sheet accordingly. So if you're confused about what synonym is and you're confused between antonyms and synonyms, here is your chance to know in the directions. That is, you need to find out the meaning of the word that you will find underlined in the sentence, right? So let's start with the questions then. Emboldened by its success, the leader now plans to go ahead with the plan and implementation. Emboldened is underlined. So you need to find out the meaning of the word emboldened. When you are emboldened, you are encouraged. So emboldened means being encouraged or strengthened. So here you have got the first option, encouraged. So this is the meaning of emboldened. Not disgruntled, succeeded or failed are related to the word, but option A therefore is your answer. Encouraged. Okay, the next question. It is encouraging to see India's indigenous cinema is going places. Indigenous means something that is native, something that is homegrown, not homogeneous, classical or non-native language. Indigenous means something that is native, something that is homegrown. Therefore your answer is option C. Next question. The ability to imagine and conceive a common good is inconsistent with what is known as pleonexia is a major struggle for a good democracy to realize. Now, this is a little bit difficult question because pleonexia is a term that is unknown to many of you. Pleonexia means extreme greed for wealth or material possessions. In other words, pleonexia means avarice, extreme greed for wealth or material possessions. So here you are with the options: greed to grab everything for oneself, greed to accumulate more and more wealth, dislike for others, overambitious. Option B is your answer. Greed to accumulate more and more wealth, something to do with extreme greed for wealth or the avarice. So your answer is option B. Next question. He tried to avoid saying something that would implicate him further. Implicate means incriminate. That means to get involved in a kind of crime. So implicate means incriminate. Okay. So incriminate is your synonym of implicate and your answer is option B. Not reward, encourage or incite but incriminate. Next question. The statutory corporate tax, which forms the major income of the government, has not changed this year. Statutory means something that is legal, regulated by law. Okay, so here you are, option D, legal. Legislature, unlawful, government are not at all synonymous to statutory. Option D, therefore, is your answer because legal means statutory. Okay. Next question. He has been part of the all dissident activities. Something that is dissident means something that is revolutionary, protesting, in other words, rebellious. Okay? Supportive, conformist means traditional or legal is not applicable to dissident. Dissident means something or a person who opposes official policy, particularly that of an authoritarian state, or someone who is a dissenter, a protester, or someone who is rebellious. So dissident means rebellious. So your answer therefore is option A. Next question. Advocacy is one major component of any new program. Advocacy means public support. Okay, in other words, promotion, not opposition, critique, or liking. Promotion or public support means advocacy. So, therefore, your answer is option A. Next question. People avoided him for his high mindedness. If you say that someone is a high minded person, then that person is with very strong principles. So, high mindedness means someone who is with strong principles, not toughness, anger, or whims, but a strictly moral and a man with strong principles. So, therefore, your answer is option B here. Next question. There is a tendency to treat social changes as mere development in terms of accumulation of wealth. Tendency means predisposition, something that is inclined to something else. So, an inclination or a proneness. Therefore, tendency means predisposition. Predisposition is synonymous or is a synonym of tendency, not position, thinking, or idea, but a predisposition. That means inclination or proneness. So, your answer is option B. Next question. During the ancient period, poets were patronized through various institutions. Patronized. The meaning of patronized means being sponsored or being funded or being promoted by various institutions. So, in other words, supported. When you patronize someone, you either fund that person or you sponsor or promote or support that person. So, respected, opposed, and scolded should not be the synonyms of patronize. It is supported. So, your answer therefore is option A. So, I hope that you have got the answer keys and explanations for the questions of your CDS2 2020 English paper pertaining to the synonym section. I will come back more with some more questions and answer keys and solutions for the other topics in your CDS2 2020 English paper. Till then, stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams. Also, do not forget to watch my English paper analysis of CDS2 2020 English exam. Also, there are other tutors who are coming up with their analysis lectures. So, please do watch their paper analysis and also answer keys and solutions for GK and mathematics, right? So I will be coming back with some more answer keys and solutions. Till then, stay tuned to SSB Crack Exams and download our mobile app and subscribe to our serious course right now.